I had a request this week from a potential customer who's just getting familiar with Axiom Audio and our products. And he said it would be really useful, he had watched some of my other videos, it would be really useful if we did a basic rundown of our product line and recommended where the typical use for different models, or why you'd pick one model over another. Now, I recently did a video on our QS series speakers, so I'm going to continue today talking about our bookshelf products. Now, we've only got two here. There's a third one, the larger one, hard to get in the shot, which is why I don't have it, but we'll put an image up at some point so you can have a look at it as I'm talking about it. So basically, we currently have three bookshelf models in our lineup. The smallest is the M2, which is here. It's a 1-inch titanium dome tweeter and a 5¼ inch woofer. The M3, which is a very, very popular, one of our most popular speakers ever, which has a 6½ inch woofer and a 1-inch titanium dome tweeter. And then the largest one and the newest one in the model lineup is the M5. And it's a larger bookshelf. It's a true three-way system with a 6½ inch high-power woofer, a 5¼ inch dedicated mid-range, and a 1-inch titanium dome tweeter. So where would you use these different models, and where would they be recommended? Well, of course, pretty much any speaker can be used anywhere, but it's what the performance is going to do in a particular environment. Like if you put a small bookshelf speaker like an M2 in a cavernous, 25 by 35 foot room with cathedral ceilings, yeah, you're going to get decent sound out of it. But if you want room filling and room shaking bass, a little pair of bookshelves by themselves is not going to do that for you. So, when customers ask me, well, I'm looking for a bookshelf speaker, which do you recommend? And again, it depends on application. The M2 is of a size that's really perfect for a small secondary system, like in a dining room or, maybe the corner of a kitchen, for instance, with a, small receiver or integrated amplifier. It's also an ideal speaker for a desktop system, for your office or your dorm room, for instance. And it's perfect for that because if you sit in what's known the near field, 4 to 6 feet away from the speaker, you're going to get good balanced performance from a small speaker like an M2 with satisfying bass. Now, going up to the M3, what do you get? Essentially, you get a bookshelf speaker that's going to play a little bit louder than the M2. That 6½ inch woofer has more output capability and more travel than the woofer in the M2. And you're also, because of the bigger drive unit and the bigger cabinet, you're going to get more bass extension. This is a perfect all-rounder speaker, and we make it in a number of different flavors. So there's an outdoor version of this called the Algonquin, which is essentially the identical speaker, but in a cabinet that's made from a special ABS plastic that is weather resistant. So it can be used outside, under an awning, and a deck, backyard applications. It's also ideal for commercial settings where you want to, have sound in a restaurant or a store or on a patio where you're serving food and beverages and whatever. We sell zillions of these things. I mean, it is, like I said, one of the most popular models. But as an all-rounder, it's really great. It has satisfying bass. It can play fairly loud. And for a smaller room, this would be a perfect option on its own without a subwoofer. As long as, again, you're not looking at, blow the doors down levels and thumping, pounding, extreme bass, where you could always add a subwoofer for that. But on their own, they're very, very satisfying, a very neutral sounding speaker, and that's really why it's so popular. Now, the M5 is an interesting speaker. We had call for many, many years to have a bigger bookshelf. people had applications where they wanted the performance, the bass extension, the output, and the balance and neutrality of one of our floor standing speakers, but for whatever reason they just didn't have the real estate in their room, or they didn't like the look of a large tower speaker. And that's why the M5 was created. As I mentioned before, it's a true three-way speaker. It has a high power 6.5-inch woofer, and I think that the M5 has amazed many, many people with its performance, because basically we say it's a floor standing speaker's performance in a bookshelf's cabinet. So it has true bass extension, it has pretty amazing output capability, and I mean, I have people that have them, customers that have set them up in rooms that are 15 by 20 or 20 by 20 feet with no subwoofer and are completely blown away by the performance. Now, they are a bigger speaker, so it's all a trade-off on where you have room, what aesthetic you're looking for. But if you want and you're looking for a bookshelf speaker in our lineup and want the ultimate performance, the M5 is the best choice. So I hope that gives you a little rundown of our current bookshelf models that Axiom Audio offers, and a little insight into where I tend to recommend people to use them. Again, there's no wrong choices. All of our speakers will work in all environments. It just depends on what part of the performance aspect is most important for you. Thanks a lot for watching, and in the future we'll do one covering our floor standing products.